Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to glorious Halifax, Nova Scotia, live from all our, living rooms, family rooms, offices. We're still isolating here at the Canada Cup. I am JP, and alongside in their hometown apartments and homes, I've got Ben Deutsch and John DeLong here. How you guys doing today, boys?
It's going well, JP. Ben, good to see you as well. Just a beautiful day in the neighborhood. It's beginning to look a lot like Samikas.
No, that was clever, John.
Oh, that was a stretch, but it was to my benefit, sort of, I guess. So I appreciate the effort, John. Thank you. Trying to say to Mikas and honoring my countrymen here, but we'll leave that alone for next time. There,
We're just
we've
clopping
got a
around the
lot to get
Christmas
through
tree over
today. We are recapping. Oh, there we go. Of course it is. You know what? If we're all gathered together, I'm sure we could be singing that for you too, John.
Oh, I don't.
But before we get into more Christmas
I
carols,
don't get an intro, JP. Huh? John gets an intro and I don't.
Uh,
Yeah.
jump right in there. I thought
Yeah.
you
Okay. What am I?
bypassed it there.
I'm having a great week, guys. Because myself and Kelleher have the same amount of Premier League goals conceded this year. So me and Quavine are tight and definitely on par here. So I'm having a great week, as I'm sure he is as well.
You also, Ben, have the same number of
When you
Premier
chalk
League
in-
goals. The same number of Premier League goals scored as Anthony Martial, one fewer than Joel Matip. So
That's true. I also have more Premier League goals scored in open play than Aubameyang this season. Sorry, I have the same amount. So it's got to be feeling good. Got to be feeling good.
Well, the boys are sure feeling comfortable firing shots all around the league right now. So I'm looking forward to seeing where the Canada Cup goes today. We got to recap our Wolves match, which was a solid return to form, it looks like, with the boys in there, with Quavine Keller with having a great game, pulling a clean sheet. We'll touch base on a few of the big moments from that game, recap our predictions, as well as the Champions League. We had a not quite as illustrious match against Ajax, but hey, we got through. We're top of the group now. We can sit back on our next game. We'll touch base on that, as well as some other points from around the Champions League. We'll recap the rest of the Premier League. There were some interesting matches and results to review, and we'll kind of foreshadow a bit too through the Champions League and who we might be seeing in the knockout stage. That draw is coming up December 14th, so we got a little time for speculation here. And a couple topics we'll jump into. It was a big week for the Premier League as a whole, as we have now got some fans in the stands. Here in Halifax, we're still on a partial lockdown, even though our cases are gone pretty good and pretty good control. And I'm going to ask the boys if they would have felt comfortable hopping into Anfield with 2,000 other fans there, which would have been great. But how comfortable would you guys have been? I'm not sure. John's also going to host our rubber match between myself and Ben. It's 1-1 on John's. Geez, what are we calling that game there? You know, the betting best of game. I'm not sure how you're quoting it.
I'm gonna call it the auction game from now on.
Auction game. All right. So we're not quite as a gambling podcast now. That's all right. And then we're going to line up the games coming up this week. Sorry, Ben, go ahead.
Oh, I just said we'll see about that whole gambling podcast thing. I'll always bring it back. Don't you worry. Seasoned expert gambler over here.
Ben will always find a way to work Proline into this here. But, you won yesterday, so I think you're taking us out for a pint as soon as we can get together. So
Oh, absolutely.
we'll hold you to that one.
All over it.
There you go. And we'll queue up the games coming up this week. We got the Midtjylland on Wednesday, which should see a rested Liverpool squad, and Fulham on Sunday, 12:30 local time here. So, guys, we got a fair bit to get through, and we'll start off with Wolves. And the biggest thing I'll say right away is that crowd. Having fans at Anfield while everybody was coming out the singing and chanting, and we were texting throughout the match. And yeah, I got chills a few times there. So first reaction, guys, seeing people in the crowd, forget COVID, forget the restrictions. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. How did it feel to you, John, there, having seeing the crowd, seeing and hearing the crowd live at Anfield?
Well, I think that I think I said it in our group chat thread that that it almost brought a tear to my eye. Honestly, hearing the crowd singing "You'll Never Walk Alone." Finally, it's nearly criminal. I said this on Twitter earlier this week. It's nearly criminal that that these Reds, this phenomenal team, this best Liverpool team that I've ever seen in my life, are only just now in December hearing a crowd singing "Campeone, Campeone, Ole, Ole, Ole." Like it's a damn shame that it took this long, but like it completely blew me away in a way that I really wasn't expecting. Nice to see that that the Merseyside fans are good ambassadors of the game, unlike certain other sectors of the footballing world. But we don't need to get too deep into that. But yeah, it was a great display from the Anfield fans and a great display from Liverpool for them. And of course, great to see Klopp getting in the old fist pump to the crowd at the end of the game.
I think we were all waiting for that fist pump to the cop there. That was pretty great. And I couldn't believe how long they were singing "Si Senor" over and over. I thought it ended after one or two verses, and then it just kept going. Ben, were you crying along with John there, or were you being a little more manly and holding those tears back?
No, definitely a lot more manly. Like the stoic statue that I am, as you all know me to be. Quick note on the Millwall fans, like you just mentioned there, John. I think you got to think of it from this perspective. If Millwall fans had politely applauded such a progressive sort of thing, then I think we should all be really concerned. We'd be like, what have you done with the Millwall fans, and replace them with like just decent people? So I wouldn't get too hung up about that. That was just always going to happen. Shame though, and it was great to see the Liverpool supporters, properly applauding that gesture. But no, I will say the first emotion that popped into my head when I saw it was anger at COVID. I've been pretty angry at COVID lately. First they take away my bars, and then fans can come to the stand for a while. And all I want to do is because prior to this pandemic, I had everything set up to go fly to Liverpool to see a game, like I try to do every year. And just seeing fans back, I was just jealous. I just wanted to be one of them really badly. But that aside, it was great to see.
All right, guys. So let's get into the match. We had a fairly comprehensive one. I think a few of us were a little worried, and we'll get into our pre-game predictions before we leave here. But a couple worried on how the game was going to go. We all thought of a win, but did any of us expect a 4-0 win and something so comprehensive? I don't think so. So we got lost to discuss 4 goals, 4 different goal scorers / own goal, and a rookie performance from Quavine. My wife's Irish, so I gotta make sure I work on my enunciation there. Ben, where are you gonna go with this game, man? We got lots to cheer on from it. What do you think?
Yeah, I thought it was awesome. I predicted 3-1, but in my mind that was kind of a bold prediction in of itself, because the high flying Wolves and a rookie keeper in Kelleher. I definitely had my doubts going in, but I think once Salah started us out there, I thought we were good to go. That goal was on Connor Cody, but that aside, thing I want to focus on with that game is, first off, Mo Salah, definitely my man of the match there. I thought he was a relentless offensive presence. He was passing incredibly. He got that early goal, which definitely put all the momentum firmly in our end. And then the Matip's header was an amazing delivery from Salah. So I think Salah was my guy for sure. I do want to actually talk about that goal, because I do have a bit of a take, a bit of a bold thing here, and it's about corners. And I'm telling you, short corners are the future. I'm predicting the long corner. That's going to go the way of the dodo here, my friends. Because if you think about it, long corners, 50% of the time they find their intended target, and even then, what happens? It's saved. Doesn't happen much. I mean, often it goes out of play. Often you just give possession away right out of a corner. Whereas a short corner, like they force defenders kind of out of their normal positions, and it creates if you will, like a corridor of open space between the defensive line and the keeper, and then it creates that extra space for runners to have to occupy, and they don't need to fight for position. They don't need to be jostling like you always see Van Dijk always doing. So in that run up, Hendo takes it short, passes it off to Salah. Salah then has this perfect corridor in which to lob the ball, which, I mean, obviously that was Salah just being a masterclass pass from Salah. 3 people are running. Any 3 of those guys could have connected with the ball. It just so happened to be Joel Matip, which is awesome because, how often are you going to see Matip score? But no, I thought that right there was, in my mind, just huge boon for Liverpool. What a play, what a set piece. And I think it kind of reinforces my take here that short corners is the way of the future. So get on board or be left behind.
I'm not going to say short corners aren't great. I definitely love a good set play short corner because when you play it properly, there's lots to happen, lots to go on. I am going to disagree with a couple of points, though, that it creates channels and creates space. It actually can create less space because as soon as you take that corner short, if that back line moves up together, then all those guys are offside, and now you're losing space to work with. So what I like about short corners is the possession you keep from it, and you can maybe do a little more than from just a set dead ball. Because I totally agree with you. I mean, my dad tried saying to me, "Oh, a corner kick's 50% of the way it's in the net." There was 20 corners in one game, and you might get 1 goal. So definitely not going to happen too often. But I will agree, a Matip header, and I think he's got one of the best celebrations because when he screams, he's got a vicious look there. John, where are you at with this game? Who stood out for you? Salah was Ben's man of the match. Ginny was Carlsberg man of the match. Who do you got?
Well, I mean, first of all, you guys both know that I love me an own goal. Big fan of the OG. And really, honestly, Nelson Semedo and losing 4-0 at Anfield, name a better pair. For me, I think kind of underreported. First of all, is I think Mo Salah being man of the match is a reasonable call. Just a quick little stat for you guys. In terms of players who have played over 50 Premier League games for Liverpool, Mo Salah runs the top of the table with games per goal ratio, or goals per game ratio rather, 6.695. Closest to him, 0.637 for Fernando Torres. Only other player in the top 5 that are currently playing for the club is Mane with 0.495. So, or 4.489, excuse me. So, some really impressive work from Salah in that first goal. Obviously, miscontrolled by Cody, but you got to be the fox in the box to take that shot. So, really, really well done. I thought this was also I mean, it's one of those great situations where you could pick 5 or 6 men of the match and it would be a legitimate pick. I mean, we were sort of cycling through them in our little group chat of it could be Robbo, it could be Mane, it could be Mo, it could be Genie, and honestly, I think it could have been Hendo, and I think his performance was amazing. Most passes completed, most touches, most in the final third passes completed, most chances completed or created rather, and most ball recoveries in that game against Wolves. Just anybody who says that Jordan Henderson is overrated is no longer watching the game properly and doesn't understand what a good midfielder does, and probably thinks that Paul Pogba isn't past it. So honestly, just a great team performance. Just across the board. And again, like I said, an own goal. I always love to see those.
But it sucks that Mane had to be denied that goal too, because now Salah has one up on him. So now we're gonna have another toxic dressing room situation. So I don't know. Own goal,
Hey,
great, but
that toxic relationship just feeds them both. It's perfect. That's what you want. He's going to work even harder for the next one. And no, you guys are both right. I mean, either you could pick anybody for this match. Robbo was fantastic. Hendo, great. Chris Jones, he was pretty solid there. Glad he wasn't really long-term injured. Just a little knock there for a bit. Ginny, I mean, what a great build-up. He was just technically one of the best players, technically sound, calm, composed, tackles, does so much well. But then you got a flash of that patience and understanding of the game, and then, oh yeah, no, I'm just going to take it myself, and curls it into the far post, which was a beauty strike. So we'll talk about whether it's going to leave us a little later, but I think it'd be a great one to keep long term because he can just do it all. And as the former goalkeeper, or former and beer league goalkeeper I am now, Kevin Keller, man, he not the most technically sound goalkeeper. He's always scares me a bit, the way he makes saves, flailing around a little bit here and there. But I'll give him a lot of credit because that chip save that he did, that was a broken, unexpected play. And if he had tried to be more technically sound, like a lot of keepers would have, that would have been a poster where he would have gone up perfectly technically. He would have went off his right foot and reached with his left hand to get the tip, and he would have missed it. But he had the presence of mind to know that I'm not going to make it that way, and he left off his left foot and swatted with his right hand. It looked ugly, but he made the save. And in the end, that's all I care about. He made a great save off that one, a couple good strong plays, and his distribution is fantastic. Left or right foot. For a while, I was not sure if he was left or right footed, the way he was hitting the ball. So I got a lot of time for him now. I don't want to see Allison injured, but I'm glad we're going to see him out for at least 2 more games probably, unless Adrian gets the Midtjylland game just to make it not too rusty in there.
yeah, I actually hope that Kelleher starts in Midtjylland because I feel like that's a great game. And I mean, if he has 3 games in a row of good performances, like maybe even 3 clean sheets in a row, knock on wood, then I think Kelleher is pretty firmly our first choice backup, going forward. I think the thing that sticks out to me the most about him is just how calm he always appears. Like, I don't know about you guys, but if I was his age, playing in a Champions League game at Anfield, then playing in a Premier League game at Anfield in front of the cop, I would be terrified. But, he looked totally cool. Already, after 2 games, I'm inclined to say he's a little more reliable than Adrian is. So I'm pretty. I hope he starts Midtjylland. I hope he has those 3 solid games in a row, and then maybe Allison comes back for Fulham. Probably won't, but at that point the guy's riding high and he's the hot hand, and I think we have ourselves a really good class backup going forward.
Yeah, I think it's the Liverpool Echo has actually reported that Kevin Kelleher is considered to now be Allison's deputy. So he is our number 2 goalkeeper at this point, and Adrian slipped into number 3, which is kind of what you want in a lot of ways. You want that sort of, like, Adrian was brought in to be a pretty strong backup, and you wanted to give Kelleher the chance to grow in behind 2 experienced Premier League goalkeepers. It's worked out that way, and now Kelleher is stepping into that number 2 role, and hopefully down the line, if we get to a point where Allison is finishing up his career with Liverpool, Kelleher can step into the top spot, wear that number 1 shirt with pride. What you want to have happen. And look at this game. You had the likes of Jones playing phenomenally in midfield, Trent coming off of the bench, Kelleher getting a debut Premier League clean sheet, and honestly, I think Nico Williams playing the best game in red that he's played since those first early games they played for us last season, where he was completely fearless. Honestly, if he hadn't gotten that yellow card early on in the game, I would have put him into the man of the match conversation. Because of the yellow card, he ended up having to play a little bit more within himself, maybe a little more cautiously than he would have otherwise. Certainly was targeted more, but I thought he really acquitted himself very well after some rocky performances, and showed once again he's a fantastic hand at right back. just what a glowing endorsement for the Liverpool Academy right now to have four players in the first team and making really phenomenal contributions. Just an absolute dream.
Yeah, sorry, broke up there a bit, froze up me for a second. Wasn't sure when you're finished there. But yeah, I love what you're saying there about the academy, because you got a young goalkeeper, a young right back in there. You got a young midfielder. Hell, if Harvey Elliott was still with us, we could have teenagers or like under 21s in every position right now. And yeah, Trent came on, did great. Whether or not Nico would have been a man of the match, that's a bit of a stretch, but he was playing great. And I would have loved to seen how well he could have done without that yellow card hanging over his head. And the front three, they were doing great. Salah creating. Firmino looked like a man on the mission. He was all over the place. And Mane, man, he was creating. He was all over the place. And the VAR finally is utilized properly, because he goes in, looks like he's going to do that, big back foot bicycle kick clearance, but he pulls his foot back. Penalties called, overturned over VAR. Everybody knew. If you guys watch closely too, Mane was standing by the sidelines, nice and calm, hands behind the back, and just smiling, watching the referee. I can't remember who was refereeing, watching him watch the replay, and he knew right away it was going to be overturned, which was the perfect play. So that was great. But on that topic, Cody goes for a big dive. He knows he's gonna potentially get contact, so he goes down easily. That is simulation. That is textbook trying to deceive the referee. And this is the stuff that I absolutely hate, because this is what I think VAR should be used for, to get rid of that. All right, you saw he dove. You saw he didn't have contact. So give him a yellow card to discourage that, or even post-match. Let UEFA, FIFA, the EPL, FA review it and say, listen, we're not having this. You're making it too hard for the referees to do their job by trying to deceive people, by trying to deceive them. So here's your yellow card, or here's a 1-game suspension, or whatever the case is. Suspension might be harsh, but we were chatting about this for a bit. I could go on for an hour about this. Ben, I mean, you were back and forth with me a little bit on it. Where's your head with this sort of thing?
Well, I think in that particular case, Cody, I give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't think he went in for the intention of blatantly deceiving the refs. I think he just assumed that he was going to run into Mane's foot. Luckily, Mane's pullout game was 100%. So I think Cody went down because of that. Yeah, it was bad of him to do. It was kind of shitty, but I feel like it's kind of a slippery slope, because, like it or not, embellishment's part of the game. Our team does it, just about everyone else does it. I think in that particular case where there was clearly and obviously no contact, absolutely give him a yellow card, because, there's no two ways about it. There was no contact, and he went down as if there was contact. So I think that's pretty cut and dry. I just think in instances where, there's a little tap and they go down, I think 99% of people would say, yeah, he's diving. But the fact was there was still contact, and there's still a possibility that, that's a legitimate sort of thing. So it's kind of a slippery slope, if you immediately start punishing every time you assume it's embellishment. But I will say for that particular Cody case, then there's not really two ways about it.
I'm gonna hop in here, JP.
Go ahead.
Just because I've got a contradicting take here, because I do think so. Cody was going down, and it wasn't a situation necessarily where he was diving, right? He went up for a ball. I think he was anticipating that he might get hit by Mane, and like he made a face because of that. Up until that point, I have no problem with the situation. Okay, like he was up in the air, he was going to fall, and he was anticipating that he was going to get kicked by one of the best strikers in the league. That's going to hurt 10 times out of 10. Like you said, Ben, Mane's pullout game so good that Trent Alexander-Arnold was weeping from the sidelines, and there was no contact made. The issue was that Cody appealed for the penalty, and then celebrated getting the penalty. And then VAR check, and this is what we wanted VAR for, by the way. We didn't want it to be whether or not a shoelace was offside. We wanted it to be these obvious, clear and obvious errors where there's no contact. 10 ways to Sunday. The angle that we had watching at home, it looked like Connor Cody was on the wrong end of Sadio Mane's foot. Like, it looked like a penalty. On further review, of course, it wasn't. But Connor Cody going down, again, appealing for the penalty, celebrating when they did get called the penalty. That's when it goes to VAR. They're checking for the mistake. They're checking for the actual error, whether or not there was a foul. Great, that's fine. I want them to also check the play around it and actually call that penalty, because I think that's the case here. Is they're checking around. They're not checking around the play. They're checking the play that they're checking. And that's the error that they're trying to call against. They need to change that, and they need to actually check and see, okay, Connor Cody, that's embellishment, that's simulation, that's a yellow card. And they need to punish that, because ultimately simulation is going to keep on happening if it keeps on getting rewarded more than it gets punished. So you can't necessarily punish every single simulation in the world. It's not going to happen. But if a player goes down shot or acting like they've been shot, like certain Brazilian players who play in farmers leagues in France do on the regular, and they're not punished for that, they're actually rewarded with free kicks opportunities, with penalties, with delays of game that end up shaving seconds off of the clock. That ends up hurting the game overall. So yes, you can't get rid of simulation. You can't get rid of diving whole cloth, but situations like Connor Cody, situations that are the more egregious situations, you have to do something about it, or nothing will get done, and it's just going to get worse.
You got to start somewhere, and like you said, I'm with you that you can't catch every single one of them, but you'll catch the big ones. Then you start punishing. You have a committee, you have people reviewing it, you have the VAR already. Have them send that out and have somebody review it, because it just becomes another opinion, which is exactly what's happening in the middle of the game anyway. The referee's making an opinion, he's making a judgment call. So whether or not he missed it, at least somebody else can make an opinion to say if they missed it or not. And ideally, the simple logic is that players dive because they don't think the referee's calling the foul. So if the referee calls the fouls the way they should, then the players shouldn't have to dive. Chicken or egg, I don't know where we're at with this point. I would like the game tightly called, where there's some minor contact, but blatant fouls and kicks and knocks got to be called. But then on the flip side, the dives have got to be called too, because you can't have this stuff. Then players trying to win those, and I know Salah, they're victims of it too. They've done it plenty of times, and I'll cheer when they get the call. But I'll be the first one to say, yeah, that was a dive. We didn't deserve that one. Doesn't mean we're not going to take it. It's the rules of the game. But in the end, I would love to see this nipped in the bud. It would help with time wasting. It might even give us a level of respect among others in the world. Because the first thing you tell anybody, or anybody in North America says to you when you say you're a football fan or a soccer fan, they're like, oh, yeah, you guys just flop on the ground all the time. That's all you do. And I was like, well, you talk about the Brazilians or the Italians, like John was talking about there. Yeah, it can get pretty bad there. So I'd love to get rid of it.
And 9 times out of 10, those people are basketball fans. And I just go, well, I mean.
Oh, basketball fans. Any final thoughts on this game, Ben, before I review our predictions?
No, just happy. I mean, I think I think when it all ended, it was just hard to be upset. It was just an amazing performance, and the fans were back. I was just in a good mood the rest of the day, and that's always a good thing.
It definitely had that vibe to give us all a good emotional boost. Now, to recap our predictions for the game, Ben, you had a 3-1 win with Fabinho getting a goal. John, you had a 3-2 with a Jota hat trick. That's a bold prediction. He wasn't really a presence either when he got on there. Maybe he was a little timid there. Jamie, handsome Jamie, he had a 2-1 win with Cujo, Curtis Jones getting a big goal from outside the 18. That actually happened at Ajax, but, well, not outside the 18. And I had a 2-0 win with a Phillips goal or a red card, one or the other. So no winners this week. At least we all thought it was going to be a win. And I was the only one who thought a clean sheet, so I'm glad I was vindicated there. But Ben and John, you both pegged out some more goals. So it's I think we're going to call it a push for this week. And then we had midweek, we had a 1-0 victory against Ajax, which, at best we call a mediocre performance. How are we feeling about this, guys? I mean, Curtis Jones had the goal. It was definitely an error by the Ajax keeper, but it was a smart goal. He didn't give up on the play, and he made it work. Ajax did have possession overall, but they couldn't score. They couldn't get it done. John, any quick comments on this game?
I mean, I don't have a whole lot to say about this game. I was working during half of it, so I wasn't able to watch the whole thing live. But ultimately, like, I don't. It's kind of reminded me of last season in a lot of ways, where it's just like, okay, we won 1-0. Maybe it wasn't the prettiest 1-0. Maybe it was a bit boring in places. Maybe it was a bit nervy in places. But we won 1-0, and we're through top of the table in the Champions League, in our Champions League group. This is what we wanted, right? We wanted the big trip to Denmark to not be too disruptive to the first team squad, and we have the opportunity to basically play the kids if we want to. Of course, a lot of the kids are in and around our first team right now, but we have the opportunity to maybe rest some legs. Genie Wijnaldum's played like 15 games for club and country since last month. Like, give him a little bit of a breather. I'm quite happy with a 1-0 victory, regardless of how it looks.
Definitely happy with the win, and you're right. We are where we want to be. It would have been nice to have a little more of a comfortable win, but you know what? Take what we can. Ben, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty uninspired game altogether. It's almost too bad, because that Ajax keeper, Andre Onana, one of the more highly touted, viewed as having quite a bit of potential around Europe, and it's the typical Ajax thing where that's where you shine, and that's where a huge club eventually pays a lot of money for you. So to commit an error like that, you hate to see it. But yeah, I think my biggest takeaway, oddly, is if I was an Ajax fan, I would be very pissed off, because both the first game, where you lost in an own goal and then you equalized, but Fabinho had the goal line clearance, and then this game where Ajax was clearly the better team, for most of the game, and then you lose on a blatant error by your keeper. I mean, those for Ajax were two very winnable games against the former champions of Europe 2 years ago. So I mean, if I was an Ajax supporter, that would have felt like an opportunity lost. But yeah, we're through, comfortable. We can now take a breather against Midtjylland. I mean, the rate in which, see, here's the thing: Midtjylland is a meaningless game, so it has big player getting injured written all over it. Like, that is precisely the game in which that's going to happen. So I definitely think we should very much limit the amount of starters, or typical starters we throw in there. Kind of give an opportunity for the kids, and just kind of get the job done and focus on Fulham.
Yeah, no, I agree there. What I do like it sets up the Ajax Atalanta game as a must win for both. Well, sorry, not for both. As a must win for Ajax, so it should be a pretty solid game. And you're right. The last thing we want to see is a big player get injured against Midtjylland. But I'd love to just play the entire under 21 squad. But we've got our Champions League squad. We got a field, so it's going to be a lackluster game for sure. But a lot of the players, they're looking for playing time. They want to make sure that they get out there. So we'll see what happens when it comes Wednesday at 1:55 local time for us here. Now let's jump back to the Premier League, and we're going to recap some of the rest of the league there, because there were some interesting matches. We had Everton drawing with Burnley. Now, I don't know who I like seeing lose or tie or perform poorly more, Everton or United. But it's kind of nice to see Everton coming down a few pegs there. City had a 2-0 win over Fulham, which was pretty one-sided. United had a bit of a squeaker against West Ham. They pulled it off in the end, but relatively comfortably afterwards with a 3-1. Chelsea 3-1 over Leeds. Again, they went down 1-0 and had to come back. Leicester with a 90th minute Jamie Vardy goal, and I watched that game, and that was a beauty of a goal. But man, I can't believe I don't know who the defender was. Just kind of gave him the ole and let him pass because he didn't want to foul him. Man, 90th minute, take the foul, take the yellow, take the red, do what you got to do, because that was a goal waiting to happen. And so Leicester got the 2-1 win over Sheffield, and Spurs had a 2-0 win over Arsenal yesterday, which I'd love to talk about in a minute, but I'm going to let John kick it off here. Which one of these games kind of spoke to you, or you want to touch base on here?
I was paying attention to the North London derby there. Tottenham v Arsenal obviously has a lot of implications for the top of the table, and I'll touch on the current league leaders in a second. But I do want to say, like we were talking about it last week, Arsenal just are not very good right now. Like they're just I can't remember who I was talking to about United being where Liverpool was a few seasons ago, and kind of making fun of them for that now. I think I did United a bit too good of a service there. I think Arsenal is going through the winter of their discontent. I think they're deep into the Roy Hodgson years of their existence right now. Like it's just a rough showing for Arsenal, and just like I don't know, it's like they're down at 15th right now, and like that seems right. not just based on their performances this season, but just in terms of like the sort of team that they are. And I do not see how that particular London derby could have gone any differently, particularly with Jose's boys playing so well. What I do want to say is more and more I'm thinking less and less highly of Harry Kane. Son's goal was phenomenal. But Harry Kane has a move, and I'm going to describe it for you guys. I know JP knows what I'm talking about here, but he has this move, and he did it on, I believe, Gabriel in that game, and previously to former Liverpool player Adam Lallana against Brighton, where the defender goes up for a defensive clearing header, and Kane kind of backs into him, taking him out at the legs, and he does it in such a way it's clever, in the same way that kind of going down at a bit of a touch in the box is clever of an attacker, in that he kind of makes it end up looking like the defender has fouled him, and in the case of the Lallana opportunity, actually did lead to a penalty, but like he's very much putting some players at danger by doing this, because they're going up for a header. He's going low, essentially tackling them out at the legs. Seen situations, I've seen examples of the very same thing in other leagues. Of course, our favorite league, the K League, I was seeing a player taking that same sort of shot from an attacker, and the player was almost like actually legitimately paralyzed as a result. Like, this is just something that I was reading on. I'm sorry, I can't remember the young man's name. Harry Kane's going to end up hurting somebody very seriously for doing this, and he's not being punished for it. He needs to be, because he's going to end up hurting somebody very seriously. He's going to end up damaging somebody's career in a, I don't know. It just kind of reminds me of Jordan Pickford taking out Virgil van Dijk.
I think Harry Kane's going to hurt himself long before he hurts somebody else. That's the ultimate Harry Kane move. So I wouldn't worry too much about that.
I don't know. See, this is the thing though, Ben. Like, it's a really, really dangerous thing. Like, yes, Harry Kane's going to end up injured and end up out for a long time, but like he's going to end up hurting somebody, and the media criticism on it is going to be like, well, he's not that sort of guy. He's a really nice guy. His social media response was top class, and meanwhile, somebody's career is going to be ended, and it's not going to be okay. So, like, I'm just calling this out now that it's a problem that the referees need to pay attention to.
I know exactly where you're coming from because I've seen that plenty of times. And it's the back in. You know the defender's going up for the header, and as you're kind of backing in, it looks like he's jumping onto you, where you're actually backing into his legs. Yeah, it's dirty and it's clever. Yeah, dirty plays. Hate seeing it. Some referees do call it. Defenders got to go up straight, and if they see Kane coming in underneath them, then they can call against. So hopefully they get wise to that. But Arsenal definitely is a bottom of the club team right now, and I was sold on them. I just thought they were a one-trick pony. Aubameyang getting some goals when they needed it, and if he's not scoring, then they're in trouble there. Ben.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good weekend. A lot of really good games. Yeah, we've already talked a lot about the North London derby. All I'm just going to say is once again, Spurs relying on Son and Kane purely for their offense, which is working great. I just don't think it's sustainable in the long term. So I've got one eye on Spurs. I don't think they're quite as dominant as I think they appear. The United game, the two games I want to talk about. That's a lie. I usually end up touching on all of them. Leicester, real quick. I said last week that I think Leicester are frauds, and I feel like this kind of pretty much just confirmed it. I mean, barely beating Sheffield, who are the only team in the Premier League to not register a win yet, just barely getting one through the line. I don't know. I don't think Leicester's not nearly as good as again they look. But the Man United game I thought was an interesting watch. If you remember last season, everyone pretending that VAR was biased to always give Liverpool the calls. I don't know why people aren't saying this now about Man United, because there was a clear play. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw Paul Pogba's goal, phenomenal goal. But the buildup was all started from Dean Henderson passing a long pass to Bruno Fernandes, who then fed it to Pogba, who then scored a brilliant strike. The ball clearly on Henderson's pass went over the line, essentially arced over the line, came back onto the pitch and into the foot of Bruno Fernandes. They were appealing to have it reviewed by VAR. They were, the West Ham players were just livid with it. But they didn't call it. They didn't even review it. Pogba scores. Manchester United go on to win 3-1. The refs after the game even acknowledged that, yeah, that ball went over the line and we messed that one up. So, a little frustrating to see, but United, they keep getting it done. They keep coming back, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has a job for another day. So, I guess good for him. Last thing I'll touch on, Chelsea. I hate to say it because everyone's going to probably make the same assumption about my checkered past. Chelsea looked good. Chelsea looked really good. I thought they were still a year out from being a powerhouse of the Premier League again, but they're playing well. So much so that even Jurgen Klopp acknowledged that they are his favorites to win the Premier League, which I think is a pretty bold admission on his part. But I think as we finish Christmas, they're going to be a problem.
Yeah, so sorry there. I missed the last second there you said, Ben. But yeah, with Chelsea being a top flight team, I can't I'm not fully on board, but they got the talent, they got the players, they got the youth that can really become it. I still feel like they might drop some points in there. And as for Leicester, yeah, I'm totally on board. They're definitely not going to be going anywhere. They're fourth right now. I think that might be as high as they can stay all season there. Other than that, guys, I think we're going to move on to Champions League if you guys are up for it, because we got some potential knockout phase matches coming up. So, John, we got some potential opponents. We're top of the table. The rest of the group still got to be kind of be settled. I worked out some of the numbers. We got some potential opponents here. I sent them to you earlier today. You got the list in front of you. Anybody in particular there you would like to play, or that you think would be like a good, interesting match for Liverpool?
Yeah, and of course, like as per always with the way that we do these recordings, we're recording prior to the Michelin game, and you're listening to this or watching it after the Michelin game and after the rest of the the rest of the games have been settled. So the final groups will be settled for you. We can't quite see into the future. I think that's pretty obvious from my record on the pick'ems. But in terms of teams that I would like to see in the Champions League, like there's a number that I would be really interested in. Certainly, I enjoyed our games against Salzburg. I enjoyed, of course, getting to play against Dortmund is always a thrill. If we got to play against Gladbach again, obviously we've talked about the history between Liverpool and Gladbach on either this or you'll never isolate alone, whichever one that was. But I gotta say, like, back in my head, the game that I want more than anything else is Atletico Madrid. There's something about just getting that opportunity to have a bit of revenge for last season. Still think that the way that they went through on us. Obviously, they were the better team on the day, and certainly if we'd been able to put away some of our goals at Anfield a little bit more convincingly, it would have been a different scenario. But just to have another crack at that particular whip would be pretty gratifying, particularly where we've been able to increase our abilities, increase our advantage on the pitch. Certainly with the likes of Diogo Jota and Thiago joining our squad. Man, that's the game that I want. I want Atletico Madrid again.
And how about seeing Suarez back at Anfield?
I mean, hey, like the last time that happened was, ask Nelson Semedo about that.
That was it'd be pretty amazing to see Suarez back at Anfield for maybe a similar loss like before. And I was thinking the same thing, John. Atletico would be a very interesting. Get him out of the way early. That'd be great to bang him right out there. Ben, you got the list there in front of you. Potential opponents, nothing confirmed yet. Anybody in particular you'd like to see us play?
Yeah, I mean, you talk about revenge. I'd love a rematch there with Real Madrid. I mean, only issue with that is, is Real Madrid even going to qualify? Right now, they're on a collision course with the Europa League for the first time since 1996. I think it would be a really pointed revenge as well, because when we met in the Champions League final, Real Madrid were on year 3 of their dynasty in the Champions League. But what a way of just kind of like showing how the mighty have fallen if we just systematically take down Real Madrid in the round of 16. But other than that, if you guys recall when we won the Champions League, we met Bayern Munich in the round of 16. And I remember it was agonizing from when we drew Bayern Munich until we actually finally played them. I was nervous. I thought, they're a huge club, and like obviously now they're the best club in Europe, arguably. But I think getting through them in the round of 16 just did so much for our confidence, like the team's confidence, that we were able to go up and reverse that deficit to Barcelona in the semifinals. So I would love to see a big club. So I'd love to see like one of Barca again. I mean, if you want to consider Barca a big club, Juventus, PSG, any of those, typical powerhouses of Europe. I'd love to knock those guys out in the round of 16 and then just carry on from there with that swagger. The one team I don't want is Sevilla, because I feel like Sevilla this year is the trap, kind of like Atletico Madrid was last year. They just play cagey. They're always kind of unassuming. You never really think Sevilla is being that threatening, just like we thought about Atletico Madrid. I feel like Sevilla has trap written all over it, and I will be severely disappointed if we end up drawing them. I got that one. I got it in.
Okay, I do want to say though, Ben, you talk about against Madrid, us playing against Madrid as an option of how the mighty have fallen. No, you got it all wrong here, because this is the long game by Zinedine Zidane. He's done his 3 in a row for the Champions League. He's got to do the same thing for the Europa League now.
There you go.
He's got to bring the silverware home for Madrid.
I'm a really third in their group. I have a hard time seeing Zidane, whatever. Bald guy. Headbutting bald guy. Still have a job at Real Madrid after that.
Yeah. I do like the idea of playing a big club. I don't know. I would like to see Juve. We haven't played them in a long time, and that would be real interesting. Dortmund is a potential possibility. Probably not, but it's possible. Playing Klopp's old club. And the other one that I'm iffy on is Mönchengladbach, because we've got history with them. My buddy Josh was on the podcast last year, and he told us about the history between Mönchengladbach and Liverpool. There's a lot of mutual respect there. So it would be kind of great to experience a home-and-home with Mönchengladbach. But on the same token, I don't want to knock them out. And I'd like to see them go really far and do well, because they are surprising the hell out of that whole group there, which is going to be a great game with Mönchengladbach and Real Madrid coming up. All right, so we'll figure out that next week. We'll probably, December 14th is the draw. So, hey, that might be, we should be aware. We might be recording this right during the draw. So we might be able to find out who our match is going to be on the next podcast here. All right, guys. So I think we're going to move on now. So, John, if you're ready, I think we're going to throw it to you, and we've got our auction match going on here. The best of three is being decided right now. So let me get my cell phone and my internet and everything ready so I can cheat. And if you're ready to go, Mr. DeLong, it's over to you.
I am ready to go, and we didn't do like a coin flip or anything like that for who's going to go first. Ben, you are the defending champion. So I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 10.
7.
JP.
3.
Ben, you are closest to the number 8, because that is the
Well, you
number.
didn't write it down or something? How do I even know that was the number?
Hey, put your phone down, JP. Put your phone down.
Game's under protest already.
The reason that you know that is that the number 8 is kind of the watchword of the game this week. Last week we were talking entirely about last season. This week we're talking about this season. So 8s this season. Ben, we're going to you first. So
Okay.
We've got 8 players here.
I see.
And I'm calling this one 4 in, 4 out. These are permanent transfer deals, either in or out of the club, that netted the club money. So we're not talking about free transfers out or free transfers in. We're talking about just transfers that cost money. So we transferred 4 players out and 4 players in that cost money. How many can you name?
Okay, give me a sec.
Players this season we have transferred out.
In and out.
Both in and out.
Oh, in and out. Oh,
I can name 5.
5. Do we have 6 from you, JP?
transferred players in and out.
And again, I'm gonna be very nice to you both. The likes of Adam Lallana do not count.
How come?
Because it's a free.
Because it's only the players that cost money.
Oh,
It's a free transfer.
ooh. So loans don't count either then, I guess.
Loans don't count either.
Oh,
These are
shit.
permanent moves. So we've got 5. JP, do you have 6?
I think I only got 5 with a loan possibly. All right, Ben, let's hear them.
Okay.
Right, Ben.
So, okay, in we got Samikas,
Yes.
Diogo Jota,
Yes.
Oh,
Thiago Alcantara.
Yes.
Out we have Dejan Lovren and
Yes.
Ryan Brewster.
Yes.
So those are my
Also-
5. Hold on.
Also,
I just want to.
could.
Okay, I just want to see because I those are the 5, so I've won. But I
Yes.
didn't know, was Kai Hoover a transfer out or a loan out?
Kiana Hoover was a transfer out,
Okay, because I could have had 6. All right. I didn't know if it was
as
a loan.
was Ovi Ajaria on his way to Reading. And on his way in, Marcelo Pitaluga from Fluminense.
So I couldn't remember his name, but I knew the guy. But yeah, Allison's friend.
$1 million pound transfer,
Brother.
rising to as 1.8 million.
Yeah, he's friends
All right.
on Allison.
Yes. JP, coming to you next here, and we're talking about 8 players in the Premier League who have had 5 or fewer Premier League appearances for Liverpool this season. There are 8. How many can you name?
5 or fewer Premier League appearances this season.
Yes, sir.
And there's 8. How many games are we in? 10? 10 games?
11.
11 games in. Yeah. I should be able to go. I'll go 5.
Mm.
Ben, do you have 6?
I mean, if I think about it hard enough, I probably. Yes, yeah, I do.
JP, do you have 7?
How many appearances you said?
5 or fewer.
5 or fewer, yeah.
All right, just to make it interesting, I'll go 7.
Okay, calling you.
Yes.
All right, JP.
Okay. 5 or fewer appearances. Okay. Shaqiri.
Incorrect. He hasn't made an appearance for Liverpool in the Premier League yet.
He hasn't even been one in the Premier League yet? Not even a sub?
No, sir. I'm sorry.
Jesus.
So Ben jumps out to a 2-0 lead.
Wait,
Just for the record.
Can I guess?
Go ahead.
Okay. Adrian,
Yes, 2.
Thiago,
Also 2.
Nat Phillips,
Also 2.
Reece Williams.
Yep.
Reece Williams has not made any Premier League appearances. He's
Oh.
strictly been in the Champions League.
Okay, so I would have messed that up.
Yep.
And Minamino was the other one I was thinking of.
Minamino was on my list.
Minamino also hasn't made an appearance in the Premier League.
Oh,
According to
It's okay. I would have missed that one too. He was
yeah.
on my.
Was
You've
Allison
got,
one? Was Allison one because he keeps getting injured?
No, so you've got
No.
Virgil van Dijk with 5. You've got Joel Matip with 5. Nico Williams with 3. Thiago with 2. Adrian with 2. Nat Phillips with 2. Divock Origi with 1. And Lord Quiveen Kelleher.
Oh yeah, that was obvious.
I could have swore Shaqiri was. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah,
So-
no, it was Champions League. Yeah.
God damn it.
So we talked about some of them today, Ben. There have been 8 players with goals in the Premier League for Liverpool so far. We've had 8 unique scorers in the Premier League. How many can you name? Potentially for the win here.
I can think of. I'll start with 5.
JP, can you do 6?
Give me a minute. Yeah, I'll go 6.
Ben, can you do 7?
Yes.
JP, you got to do the full set, or it goes to Ben for the to name his 7.
Damn it.
Risk it for the biscuit.
All right, Ben, I'm gonna make you work for it.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you the win. You got to work for the win.
So Ben,
Okay.
7 Premier League scores for Liverpool.
Here we go. Diogo Jota,
Yes, sir.
Mo Salah,
Yes.
Sadio Mane,
Yes.
Gini Wijnaldum,
Yes.
Joel Matip.
Yes.
Okay. Curtis Jones.
No.
Oh yeah, it was Champions League, wasn't it?
It was.
Uh,
So JP, you are still alive in this game. So just to round them out, we've got Mo Salah with 9, Diogo Jota with 5, Sadio Mane with 4, Bobby Firmino with 2, and then all with 1, Virgil van Dijk, Jorginho Wijnaldum, Andrew Robertson, and Joel Matip.
I would not have remembered Robbo, but
Okay.
I don't remember. I don't think I would have got that one.
I
Okay.
think Van Dijk in the first game against Leeds, I think, scored.
Yeah. I think that may have been when Robbo scored too. So, JP,
All right.
still alive. We got a 2-1 game here. We have had 8 players in the Premier League who have seen yellow.
Mm.
Ooh. All right, I'll start with 4.
4. Ben, do you have 5?
Yeah, sure. I think I can do 5.
JP, do you have 6?
Yeah, I'll go 6.
Yeah,
Ben,
if I did 7, I'd just be guessing. So go ahead, JP.
JP.
All right. Well, Nico, he got his yesterday.
Yeah.
Correct.
Allison got a delay game 1 2 weeks ago.
That's right.
Mane.
Sadio Mane actually is the only player who has 2.
Awesome.
Nico, Mane, Allison. I'm pretty sure Milner's got 1 at some point.
I'm sorry, JP. We've got a winner, and it is Ben.
He's too gentlemanly.
Endo Fabinho, did they get them?
Fabinho has had 1, yes.
Yeah.
Endo?
No Hendo.
Robertson definitely had 1.
So, yeah, we had Sadio Mane, is the only one with 2. And then with 1 all is Allison, Fabinho, Virgil van Dijk, Bobby Firmino, Joel Matip, Trent Alexander-Arnold, and Nico Williams.
I was thinking about Trent, but Trent and Bobby? Wow, I'm kind of surprised there.
Surprised both Mane and Bobby have yellow cards. But
you know what? So just for fun, Ben, you are you're our defending champion. You have 1. Just for fun, we're gonna go a little like so. This was gonna be our ultimate tiebreaker.
okay.
Rather than 8, we have 16 different nationalities who are represented.
Oh, hell yeah.
16 different nationalities. Ben, congratulations on your win. How many can you name?
I bet I can name all 16. And is this the first team or is this the?
This is just named to the first team squad on the official Premier League.
Okay,
Liverpool site.
Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and assume here when you say nationalities, England, Scottish, and Welsh are all separate.
Yeah, they're all separate. Yes.
So English, Scottish, Welsh, and then Irish is 4.
Yeah.
So that takes care of the British Isles. Dutch.
Yes.
Brazilian.
Yes.
Egyptian.
Yes.
Senegalese.
Yes.
Cameroon or Cameroonian.
Yeah. Just name the countries.
Okay, Ghana.
Yeah.
How many am I at now?
You are at 10.
Okay. Japanese.
Yeah.
Portuguese.
Yeah.
Spanish.
Yeah.
Okay, where am I now? Where am I at now?
13.
13. Okay. Woo. Okay, that was getting tough. Belgium.
Yes.
14. Do we have any?
There are 2 big
Greek.
ones here.
Greek.
There we go. Yeah.
Okay, and the last one. Okay, let's go here. It's probably going to be obvious, isn't it? Am I missing an obvious one here?
I think
you're missing a pretty obvious one.
Yeah. Sounds like something I would do. Don't give me that look.
Did you say Dutch yet?
I did say Dutch.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just going through like the whole first team here. Man, I'm blanking on that last one.
Portuguese? Did he say Portugal?
I said Portuguese, yeah.
Portugal.
I was writing him down. Swiss.
Swiss.
Yeah.
That was the one I missed.
I was writing him down. I missed a couple of ones there.
Okay.
Is Kumateo not there?
What's that?
Sorry?
Is French not on there? Is Kumateo not on the actual roster?
Yeah.
He's not a part of the first team.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about that.
Because I was trying to think if there was a French player on our squad. Yeah. So.
Yeah. No. It's Brazil, Spain, Republic of Ireland, Netherlands, England, Greece, Scotland, Cameroon, Wales, Guinea, Switzerland, Senegal, Egypt, Portugal, Japan, and Belgium.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wait. I thought you said Ghana.
I did say Ghana, not Guinea. So.
Well, there you go. A cold comfort second point for JP.
Is Groot? Yeah, consolation points. Love it. Grujits. Is he not on the website? He's Serbian, isn't he?
He's also on loan.
Oh yeah, he is. Yeah.
I said on the website.
Well, 14 out of 16 ain't bad.
That one I could. If you had that first, man, I could have made. If you had that category first, I could have made it interesting.
Yeah.
I could have done that one.
Listen, you clawed back a point, my friend. It wasn't a shutout, so
It
was
made
an
me work
interesting
here.
thing.
Love those comments.
Ben continues to be the champion of the trivia game competitions. So
Big brain.
So we'll have to figure out, John, if me and you play next week to see who fights off with Ben in the final, or it's just like winner stay on. But we'll talk about that post match there.
I think it's a linear champion thing.
That's very. All right, so let's wrap her up, guys. We are definitely running long tonight, so hopefully you guys at home have been enjoying this. We got 2 matches to touch base on. By the time this is posted, Midtjylland will be over, so we'll leave that alone. Hopefully it's a nice win for the kids. But we got Fulham coming up on Sunday. Fulham just had a 2-0 loss against City. John, you got me a prediction here?
I'm going to say Fulham doesn't like to score goals. It's just not something that they do. So I am going to say that it's going to be a Liverpool win. I'm going to say it's going to be a comfortable one. I'll give it a nice, comfortable 3-0 victory.
3-0.
Bold prediction: Milner scores.
Yeah, Milner. Ben, how about yourself?
Well, Fulham, yeah, to their credit, they only held Man City to 2 goals, one of which was a penalty, and they beat Leicester the week before. So, yeah, they've gotten themselves out of the drop zone. So Fulham's not terrible. They're not Sheffield. With that being said, though, I'm going to call a 2-0 victory. Again, it won't be as comfortable, I think, as all that, but it'll be about a 2-0 victory. And my bold prediction will be one of the first team players gets injured.
Ooh. This season, that's not really that bold.
Yeah, I know. Well, when I say one of the first team, one of our preferred starting 11 guys goes down and is injured. Yeah.
I'll message Handsome Jamie later, get his prediction. But Ben, I'm on point with you with a 2-0 victory. And my bold prediction, if you guys will accept this, will be we finish with 75% possession or more, according to the Premier League website. So I think it's going to be boring as hell games. We might score. Well, it'll be really tight. It'll be like a 1-0 win at like the 80th minute, and then we might score one like the 90th kind of thing. So that's what I see happening. All right, guys. So I think that's going to wrap it up for this week. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Any closing remarks there, Ben?
No, just I'm super jealous if everyone got to go to Anfield, and I really wish I was one of them. So one of these days, traveling podcast live from Anfield, we'll make it happen.
Once we get some proper supporters and we can really push ourselves, maybe we'll get to visit Anfield on a free tour, and they'll take us around as the premier podcast of Canada for Liverpool.
We already are self-declared. Don't worry.
I declare that. That's all you need to say. John, how about yourself, man? You ready to go to Anfield on a trip?
Hey, listen, someday that's definitely the dreams. Closing remarks: follow us on Twitter at the Canada Cop Pod. Follow us on Instagram at the Canada Cop. Big shout out and big love to our good friend Handsome Jamie. Obviously couldn't be with us again this week. Some personal issues there. Certainly a lot of folks going through a lot of difficult things these days. Jamie's certainly going through a bit of a rough patch himself. You'll never walk alone, buddy. We love you, and hope that you're doing well.
And everybody, on that note, we're going to sign off from the Canada Cop here in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Thanks for joining us. Stay safe out there, and hopefully maybe next week we might actually be back in the same room. So stay safe, everybody. Follow your healthcare professionals' advice, and we'll hopefully see you all soon. Cheers.